Now then, I'll move on to survival knives. This is really the only technical survival knife I have. It's the Air Force survival knife. I like it because it's got its own little pocket for a sharpening stone, which is actually really good. This one was made by Camelus of New York. When I got it, it had no edge at all. It was like completely, it's phosphor coated. But it had basically a butter blade on this side. So which is good, you can put your own edge on it. Excuse me. The things I like about this blade is it's got a nice fine bone saw. The wood saw, if used for wood, would load up, but it will cut wood. It's got a nice handle. It's got a heavy pommel for knocking things. And on the hilt here, it's got a couple of holes so you can lash it to a stick, I suppose. Incredibly high-grade carbon steel. Keeps in holds an edge very well. Now the only thing I don't like about this is the kind of a Bowie clip here. It's got a false edge here, which actually you could sharpen up and make this thing a 2-edged knife. If you're planning on stabbing a lot of flesh, I suppose that's useful. The fine point is good for fine woodwork, I suppose, but I don't like it only because things that thin, to me, are weak, and I would be afraid of breaking this thing. So this thing just sits in my collection for the most part. Okay? But I would, if you got one for a decent price, it's an excellent knife, I have to say. Just have to be aware of that part right there. Finally, this was given to me by my father. It's made by Cold Steel. It's a little Tonto blade. These things cost hundreds of dollars now. Hey, I think he picked it up for $15 like 20 years ago in a garage sale of all things. And it's almost mint condition. I like the knife for a lot of reasons. It's a good size, it's very strong, very thick steel, holds a very good edge. But this wedge tip, in my opinion, is to be avoided because the angle of the tip isn't really good for fine woodwork, in my opinion. And you have a nice cutting edge here, but that angle there makes this part of the blade almost useless. They call them armor piercing, I suppose, which beats me. Why? Because if you were having to go through some kind of body armor, you're going to want something more like that. So, they look cool, I suppose, if you like to look like some kind of half-baked Street Fighter dude, but personally, it sits in my collection. If I need money, I guess I'll sell it. I mean, this one's made in Japan. It's just unbelievably expensive and well-made. But overall, for using in the field, I would never carry it, ever. So, I'm going to show you one more. Okay, a couple more knife designs. This is known as a gravity knife. Maybe you'll never see it, I don't know. It's made by the Germans for their paratroopers. That's the trigger there, you push that, and the blade deploys. It's actually a really good knife. Even though it shakes here, it locks up really nice and tight. And like the Germans, I like the precision. They also make this where you push this button, this whole knife will disassemble if it gets full of mud, and easily clean. And the lock goes out of the way like that. Illegal in many states, not Arizona. Finally, the push knife. This is not the people killer one. This is more like the utilitarian one. Made by Cold Steel. T-handle is actually kind of useful. I've kept this in my boot a couple of times. The tip's kind of fat for anything, but you know, it's not bad. It's very strong. You could probably hook that on a piece of metal and hang from it. This thing's not going anywhere because it's got a full metal construction through the handle, even though this is a rubber handle. As a last-ditch knife, I would carry it. But then again, I put it in boots and such. Not a bad knife. But overall, unless you have disposable income, I'd avoid it. The other one has double edge on it. And again, if you want to play street fighting dude, something like this, if you're going to whip it out, it's probably going to get you a heck of a lot more trouble than it's worth. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I've showed you several different things. Any questions or comments, just go ahead and make a comment on the video. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching.